Kindly turn off your microphone, please. Thank you. Okay, so what we're going to discuss today is about a conditional statement. So focus on switch because we already finished with if else, if else if, and this time this will be the last no commonly used in conditional statement, the switch statement. So the switch expression is evaluated once. Now, the value of the expression is compared with the values of each case. If there is a match, the associated block of code is executed. And the break and default keywords are optional and will be described later in our example. So, to give you an example of switch statement as what we mentioned last time. So what will be the syntax of switch statement? So where is it? Okay, so for example, so I just want to do this one first. So what will be the syntax of switch statement? So again, when we say a syntax, this will be our pattern, okay? So switch, then the expression, of course, but it must be in a lowercase, no? Lowercase s. Expression, then begin. Then after that, of course, the code block, right? The code block, the first one is case, no? Case, for example, case A. Then the code block. Then assuming we have another case, case B. Then of course the code block. Then for example, if we have only two options, just don't forget that after a code block, you need to indicate the break, no? Break. Again, it must be in a lowercase, no? Even the case. Okay. Again, a programming language is a case sensitive, of course. So therefore, we need to be aware every time we type, we must observe a lowercase. Okay, so then after break, default, colon, then the code block, then of course end. So this will be the syntax of our switch statement. So I'll make it bigger. So okay, so this will be the syntax, okay? So switch the expression, then begin. Case A, for example, the code block is uh, printf freshman, then break. Case B, then code, for example, code block is printf sophomore, then break, then default, then of course another code block, for example, junior, then end. But again, as I mentioned earlier, it must be in a lowercase format. So even the default here must be in lowercase. Okay? So this will be the syntax. This will be our guiding principles in developing our switch statement. Now, this will be the problem. Okay? I think that everyone are very much familiar in using if else, and if else if statement. How about if we wanted to use switch statement with this problem? Okay, input the number 1 to 12 and display the month equivalent. So for example, if we inputted 1, it display January. If we inputted 11, it display November. If we inputted 8, it display August. Okay. So we may proceed first to our program. Okay. So as what we have here, okay, so we are always required to input the library. Okay, so sharp include stdio or standard input output that header. So we are to required to use main, then begin. So I just want to use month number as or monno as my variable, no, for the input month. Then of course, since this is as dev C++, we are not allowed to use CLR, so therefore I just make it as a comment. Then printf, okay, input month number. But if you want to make it complete, it's still okay. Then %d, since we declare monno as our variable as an integer, so therefore %d, then ampersand monno. Then switch. So since this will be our variable, so this will be, therefore this will be our expression. Okay? So begin as what we have a while ago. So case 1 colon printf January. Then break. Case 2 colon February. Break. Based on what we have explained it a while ago about the syntax itself. Okay, printf 3 March, 4 April, 5. It's just only copy paste once you done it once, na? Then up to 12. Then as you can see here, right after printf December, break, then default, colon, then it means to say that if your inputted value is not within 1 to 12, it display invalid month number. Please try again. Then break, end, and end. Again, as I mentioned, it is dev C++. It is not cater the getch command. Okay, so after that, save, file save, then compile. Okay, so as what we have here, compilation time 2.38 seconds. Then execute, run. So for example, since my birth month is August, type 8. So the output is August. You can see. So again, if we want to run again, compile and run. For example, this month is October. So type 10. Then October. So we have a default at the bottom, right? So we have invalid month number. So it means to say that if we inputted a number without in a range of 1 to 12, so for example, we inputted 18. So the output displayed invalid month number. Please try again. Okay? Now, how about problem number 2? Okay, the problem number 2 state that input the number 1 to 4 in display the year level of the students. So it means to say that if we inputted 1, that is freshman. If we inputted 2, that is sophomore. If we inputted 3, it display junior. And if we inputted 4, that is senior. Okay, now we move proceed to adapt the program again. Sorry. Sorry. Okay. So as what we have here, we have sharp include stdio.h, the standard input-output header, and at the same time, the main. Okay. Then, since we use y level as our variable, as our expression, so therefore our switch is y level. Okay? So case 1, printf freshman, break. 2, sophomore. 3, junior. 4, senior. Then break. Then the default. So once you do not inputted 1 to 4, you will become out of school youth. Okay? Then end. Then file save. Okay, execute, compile. So compilation, 0.53 seconds. Then, we're going to run. Execute, run. So for example, at present you are freshman. Input 1, automatically freshman. Okay? So execute, run, compile and run. For example, I put it 8, out of school youth. Okay? So as you can see, it's too easy for us to do a switch statement. No? It's just switch, the expression, begin, the case number, then printf, then break. Then case 2, the code block, break, case 3. It depends upon if you have 1,000, for example. So something like this, no? And so on. Now, problem number 3. It's much more complicated actually. Okay. Problem number 3 is input the number 1 to 3,999 and display the Roman numeral equivalent. Okay, so for example, if we display if we type 10, it display X. If we type 30, it display XXX. Okay? And so on. So how we'll be able to do that? Okay, so this time, as what we have here, I have a Indo-Arabic to Roman numeral converter. Because, for example, uh, if your friend or even your sister or your brothers ask you, how I will be able to convert this in Roman numerals? Okay? You just say, wait for a while, I have a program for that. Okay? So, as what we have here, we have a different variables, no? So, it means to say for n, that is the inputted value for n. Then, 40 is 1,000, no? Then we have T here, for thousands. We have H for 100. We have R for, this will be an 11, 12, 13. We have E for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. We have O for I, yung 1, 2, 3, 4 to 9, and so on. So this time, as what we have here, okay, so it represents, as what we have here, we have an initialization. No? We initialize N, R, T, H, E, and O as equal to 0. That is what we call initialization. Okay. So enter an integer. That means to say 123,999 %d n. So if n is less than 4,000 and n is greater than 0, then begin. So as what we have here, t is equal to n divide 1,000 because t is for our thousands. N is equal to n times percent 1,000. If you still remember, if we say percent or modulus, because percent here represent modulus. It meant to say that we are getting a remainder. No, a remainder. Then this is for 10. Okay? So, greater than 10 and less than 20. So, 10 to 20. Or n divide 10. Okay, per switch, 4,000. Switch T. Begin. Case 1, printf M. Case 2, printf, Case 3, Because we just only accept 3999. That's why we just only indicate this 3, no? 400, so 1 is C, 2 is CC, 3 is CCC, 4 is CD, 5 is D, 6 is DC, and so on and so forth. For case 1, for R, if he encountered 1, that is XI, 2 is XII, and so on and so forth. For E, once E encountered case 1, that is X, case 2, XXX, and so on and so forth. For case also 1 is encountered 1, print FI, for 2, 2II, and so on and so forth. Then after that, display, else, invalid input, then exiting. Okay, so we just try to run. So what we're going to do first is to compile for us to know if there are certain error. So as what we have here, we don't have an error because compilation time is 0.77 seconds. Then execute, run. So for example, if we inputted 158, 158, then enter. So CL, C is 100, L is 50, 8 is BIII. Okay? So for example, run again. 8888 because I love 8. My favorite number is 8. So DCCCLXXXVIII. Because 500 is D, CCC is 300, 80 is LXXX, and 8 is VIII. Okay, so how about if I inputted for example 5 or 3885. Okay. So as you can see here, that is 3,000, D is 500, CCC is equal to 300, LXXX is equal to 80, and V is 5. That's why 3885. And this will be the code for that. Okay? So, actually it's too easy, right? Okay, so what will be the next problem? Input the number in display the word equivalent. So maybe you are familiar with some banks, no? That if we give them for example, 1,000, it display in their check that is 1, the word 1, then 1,000. So how will be able to do that using Microsoft or using Dev C++ rather? Okay, so another program for that. So again, as you can see here, I'll try to use that define P as printf, define S as scanf. But most commonly, no, I just want to advise everyone, especially if you are using, for example, %s, better for you to change this one as other letter. No? Because, for example, you are using %s, then you are using S as scanf. So that is redundant. There are certain cases that you may encounter error. So better for you to use, for example, SC instead of C or S only. So therefore, SC. Especially if you are going to use a %s. See to it that if you are going to define P, you don't have a variable P. Okay? So that's it. So file save. Okay, before I will going to run. Same scenario as what we did a while ago. So we have an input value, an N. Then, of course, that 1,000 for an N, divide 1,000. Then N, again, this is, the function of percent here is a modulus, no? So it means to say that if we inputted, for example, 2,000, so T is equal to 2,000 divide 1,000. So N is equal to N, that is 2,000 divide 1,000 is 2, walang remainder. So 0. So therefore, proceed na agad yan sa sunod na statement. Okay? So this is for 100 and this for ones. Then if n greater than to 10 and n is less than 20, so this will be the functions. So either E, O, or R. Else, E is equal to n divide 10, n is equal to n percent 10, O is equal to n. Then switch. So as you can see here, for 1,000, we use T. So it is also allowable. Case 1, 1,000 break. Instead of making this one at, for example, as the bottom, it is also allowable, no, in one straight line. Case 2, 2,000 break, and so on up to 9,000. Switch H for 100. Hundreds naman po ang binibilang nito. Okay, so 1 for 100, 2, 200, 3, and so on and so forth. For R, that is 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. For E is 10, 20, 30, 40, up to 90. Then O for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. As you can see, as I mentioned a while ago, so once you have this one, no, you just copy paste, no? Almost the same. You just simply edited the content in the printf. But don't forget, every switch we have begin and we have end here before we may start to another switch. Okay? Then at the bottom, of course, again, as I mentioned earlier, based on our given scenario, as I mentioned, the break and default keywords are optional, and it will be described as I mentioned. No? As you can see here, we don't have default here. It is also allowed. Instead of using getche, you are also allowed to use return 0. Okay? So as you can see here, we don't have default. Because as I mentioned earlier, break and default keywords are optional. Okay? So file save, execute, compile. So we have 0.55 seconds. Then as you can see here, execute, run. So for example, my first in-cash, no, in my YouTube account is 8,850. No? So as you can see here, 8,850. So once you inputted a number, it display a word number. Okay, so for example, execute, run, assuming 20 pesos o 20, just only 20. For example, 9,800, I love 8 in 5 as you can see. So 9,885. And that's it for switch statement. I think that now you can able to run a lot of different switch statement using switch statement. Did you know that the break keyword, when the dev C++ reaches a break keyword, it breaks out of the switch block. This will stop the execution of more code and case testing inside the block. When a match is found and the job is done, it's time for a break. There is no need for more testing. So it means to say, once the statement, no, reach this one and there is no another need to execute, so therefore it ends. There is no need for more testing. The default keyword, no, a while ago we have a default keyword here. No, we have a default here. Yan. As what we have here, we have a default keyword here. The default keyword specifies some code to run if there is no case match. So it means to say that if we inputted a value not included with our specify, no, specify with the code, so therefore the default must display. This will be the function of a default one. Okay, I think that's it for today. Even it's too early, but what we're going to do is, because based on what I have received with your previous activity wherein you are required to convert the grading system, no, as far as I remember,